So hi, everyone. My name's Angie. I am the Executive Director here at New Ventures BC, and I'm just here to walk you through the competition. So join with me today. I have Liz Boel, who works here at New Ventures BC. She's kind of moderating the chat. And we also have Brianna Blaney, who's the CEO of Pocketed, and they went through the competition last year and made it all the way to the top 10. And I believe you're in the finals for the forum pitch for the purse. So we'll meet Brianna in a little bit. I'll take you through the competition first, and then we'll get to know a little bit more about Pocketed and their competition experience. So let's get into it. Let me move on here. Okay, so New Ventures BC, we're a not-for-profit society, and of the few programs we run some accelerated programs as well, but we're most known for our annual venture competition, and we are BC's largest startup competition. Some people tell me Canada's largest startup competition, but I'm a data person, so I feel like I still need to do the research on that. But if we're not the biggest, we're one of the biggest in Canada, and it's our 22nd year of competition. So this competition started way back in 2000, and in that time, we're really proud to have been part of the startup journey for so many companies. Over 3,000 companies have entered the competition. In some recent research we've done recently, a couple years ago, over 8,000, probably it's higher, jobs, over $1 billion of financing raised, really great results. So, we're honored to be just a part of that journey. And to that end, while we do call ourselves a competition, and we are a competition, of course, we really do encourage entrepreneurs at all stages in that startup phase to come and join us for the journey, because we offer a whole bunch of different things that hopefully you'll get benefit no matter how far in the competition you go. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight on the different things we offer throughout the competition over the next few slides. And we'll have time for Q&A and questions from you at the end as well. So cash and prizes, of course. We have a great education seminar, networking, mentorship, jury feedback, recognition. So I'm going to go through everything next. So this is kind of like the overall high level look at what we offer. You don't have to join the competition. There is a small fee for the competition, but you don't have to join the competition if you just want to take advantage of the education and the networking. So there is something for everyone at all levels. And in that bullet list that you're seeing on the screen here, these were all developed over 20 years ago and iterated on over time, on the assumption that these are kind of essential tools and resources that we hope can give you the tools to build a more successful startup, hopefully here in BC. All right, so, this is coming back. So this was our award ceremony 3 years ago. Lots of great, happy people. This is what happens at the end. This is our big celebration. So hopefully we'll do something like that again later this year. So, okay, so first component that we've mentioned here is our education series. So that actually starts next week, and it's every week for the next 12 or so weeks. We'll be offering all sorts of different education and networking opportunities for you to learn how it can apply to the idea or company you're building, or to meet the speakers, or to network. There's something for everyone here. So you can sign up for one topic, you can sign up for all the topics, and they'll just be going on. They'll be online as well. So all the education events this year are online, just so we can reach more of you more broadly. And then we are going to do some in-person social events as well that are here based in Vancouver. So I'll just point you to, these are just some of the topics you can see coming up. Next week we start. So we're starting off with product market fit on Tuesday, and we're also doing a networking event next Thursday. So I'll talk a bit more about those later, but please do join us if you're around and want to get into it. We do record everything as well though. So if you can't watch them live, you can watch them later. In terms of the mentorship options that we offer in the competition, so these are the mentorship element is part of the competition process. We try to build in as much as we can. We get about 200 or so entries a year. So the amount of mentorship we can provide to kind of increases based on how far you get in the competition. So if you're in round 2, which is our kind of our main general round, and that's where you stop, then We do offer a 1 hour, 45 to 1 hour mentorship session to kind of do a debrief on your round 2 experience. So hopefully that's, you're getting at least that access point to get to meet someone else new and get a new perspective. We cut down to a top 40 in around June. And at that chance, you also get an opportunity to get pitch coaching and mentorship from our partners at Volition Advisors. So if you haven't heard of them, you can look them up, but they focus a lot on storytelling and pitching, and are a great resource as well. If you advance into our top 25, then you are paired with 2 to 3 mentors within our New Ventures BC network. And we pair them with you. So hopefully they've got background and interests that match you. And then in addition to that, we also do something called a mentor panel, which is basically like a friendly, no stakes Dragon's Den. So you kind of give a presentation, focus on what you want to work on. And then there's about 6 to 8 different mentors that are there to give you on the spot constructive feedback. So those are kind of the 2 mentorship opportunities we offer in those later rounds. So who are the mentors? They're either, actually, we've changed this a little bit. I just realized I should update that. But basically, they're people that have hopefully been through this before in some capacity, either entrepreneurs who have gone through the process of building a company, corporate finance people. So these would be people with investment backgrounds, venture capitalists, angel investors, people that have helped other companies raise money, or people that just have a really strong expertise around something relevant. So typically that's someone with a really strong sales background, operations background, primarily in the tech space. So they understand the industry. In terms of the general format, I'm not going to go through this in full detail, but there's basically 4 rounds. So we start off with about 180 to 200 or so entries. Typically, round 1 really is just an eligibility round. So I always tell people, don't spend too much time on the online form. That's your first step, only because it really is just an eligibility round. And if there's any questions, we follow up with you. Save all that time and energy for round 2, which is a 5-pager, and that gets judged by 5 or more judges. So that's the round to really start focusing on. So we kind of go from 180, then we move into round 2. That eventually goes down to 40 people. Then that gets cut down to a top 25 and then a top 10. So with each round, there's either a pitch element or a written submission element that gets judged. And at the end of each round with judging, you get like a short report on how you scored and some general comments from the judges. And that all gets sent to you electronically. And with each round as well, there's different seminars, different opportunities to network, and different ways to engage. Okay, so the prizes. So this is a competition. So for those who do enter the competition and make it through to the end, the prizes always change a little bit every year, but it's around $250,000 in cash and prizes. Here are the top ones. This year, I believe pretty much all of them are presented from Innovate BC. So Innovate BC is our title sponsor, and they fund a lot of they fund the cash prize component of these prizes. So if you don't know Innovate BC, they're a provincial crown corporation. And their mission is to support the tech ecosystem here in the province. And they do all sorts of different things to support that. So if you haven't reached out to them, please do. So of course, first, second, third, those are self-explanatory. And then we have specialty prizes. So there's a $10,000 sustainability venture prize. So if you have a tech in that clean tech sustainability space, then you can apply for this prize as well. We also have a prize to highlight the wonderful innovations coming in from all the regions of the province. So that's anywhere outside of Metro Vancouver. And we also have a $10,000 prize for a woman founder-led venture. And last year it was I think we had 5 in the top 10, and it was really it was a stiff competition. It was incredible. So really happy to bring this prize back. And we're actually going to add a bunch more things to that prize in addition to the cash. with some programming and some mentorship, just to kind of make it a really fulsome package. So more details coming on that. And then we also have what we call a luminary prize. So we call our wonderful volunteer network our luminaries, because they are sharing their expertise with our community. And last year we started a prize where the volunteers themselves fund it themselves. And the idea is to support a pre-revenue company that just has really high potential that they really want to give some support to. So that prize, more details on that prize will be coming soon. You can win any of those specialty prizes in addition to the 1, 2, and 3. So it's not either or. And if you win the Luminary Prize, so last year's winner was a company called Sarcomere Dynamics. They can enter again this year because they were pre-revenue. So there's kind of a few different details there, but those are kind of the high level strokes. The cash is non-dilutive, so it's not an investment. It is your money to put into your company as you see fit. Okay, here's last year's prize winner. We had a hybrid awards ceremony last year at the Roundhouse. So online, if you watched online, that's great. Otherwise, we had a small group in person, but we all had to wear masks. So we snuck outside for a photo outside before the rain came down. So there's the winners, Traffic Driven Technologies. They'll actually be speaking at our networking event next Thursday as well. And yeah, lots of past winners. There's lots of them listed here. So the point here is not for you to read this all, but the point is to show that, we really hope we're an important part in the path of a startup journey. And we're really happy to have been part of it for many successful companies here in BC. Okay, so that was my quick rundown. I've got a few more things to say in a moment, but enough about me and New Ventures BC. I think it's really important to talk to people who have been through the competition before. And I asked Pocketed, so Brianna Blaney is here from Pocketed, and I asked Brianna to join me for a couple of reasons. The first is she has a really amazing platform to help people like yourself, startups, get access to grant funding. And I think it's a really great resource. So I want her to tell you about that a little bit. And then I'd also like her to just share her own competition experience and, tell you about why she entered, the pros and the cons of entering, whatever you want to say, Brianna. So I've not scripted this. So over to you, Brianna. Thanks for joining us.
Angie, thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. I just put a link in the chat as well. For anyone that hears me talk today, is early stage in building your business. Presumably you're all here because you're building a business. If you are interested in accessing government money to help you grow your business without diluting, to help you with any founder investments you might already be making as you're bootstrapping, or just to accelerate your runway, I encourage you to create an account. So I'm Brianna Blaney. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pocketed. We built Pocketed to help business owners, whether it's startups, small businesses, or side hustles, more effectively access government money. So that is free money to help you grow your business. And I say the word free, I should probably use bunny ears because it is paid for by taxpayer dollars. So it's certainly not free, but it is free for you as a business, meaning most of it is non-repayable. Oftentimes they're not taking any sort of debt or equity in your business. It just is a great source of money to help you get started or to scale your business as you go forward. Pocketed ourselves has used almost $1 million in non-dilutive funding. So that's grants and tax credits that have allowed us to build our business. So what that meant was we were able to use our own founder funding and non-dilutive funding to accelerate our runway so that by the time we went to raise an equity round of financing, our valuation was at a really competitive place. So we weren't giving away our entire business and the baby with the bathwater. We were raising it from a very competitive place to scale and accelerate our growth. So I encourage anyone who has not had the opportunity yet to look into government funding as a source of growth capital for your business, do so. Our platform is totally free to use. And that's kind of my spiel on that, but really excited to be here and talking about our experience with the New Ventures BC competition last year. I've actually got through the competition twice, once for my first startup that I built with my co-founder, which was a predictive hiring and retention solution for restaurants and retailers, as well as now for Pocketed. So we've been through it twice and I've had a great experience both times. What we love about the competition and what was really valuable to us as we were getting ready to raise for Pocketed this past summer was it forced us to think through a business plan. for Pocketed. And it really gave us the opportunity to think about our go-to-market strategy, about our competition, about our market opportunity. It really gave us that opportunity, that structured opportunity, I should say, to put it down on paper, to say, what is our market size? Why shouldn't an investor be excited about being part of this journey with us? What could this look like as we continue to grow and go forward? How are we going to get there? What is that go-to-market strategy as we enter into the US market? What are the different channels that we want to be pursuing to reach our customers? Who are our customers? What is the value proposition that is compelling to make them want to use our platform, our solution? So the structure that it had us work through in the very nature of how the program is designed was fundamentally valuable for us as we then went to raise. So Angie, I don't even know if I've ever told you this, but in our data room for investors, we would include our New Ventures BC round 2 and 3 submissions, because it really did create a business plan that before New Ventures BC, we had not had. So it's a really great way for you to think through, even beyond the thinking through it process. As you advance in the competition, you have the opportunity to work with unbelievable mentors. We had sessions with them one-to-one, as well as with our mentors as a group. And they really helped us think through and dive into parts of our business plan that weren't as strong, or places that we weren't sure how to tackle. So I'll give you an example that's something I've always struggled with. How the heck do you size your market? It's always been this daunting task, and I'm sure some of you can relate to that. How do you size it? Is it based on the number of companies? Is it based on the amount of funding available? Is it based on some intersection of those two things? For us, for example, it's hard to do. And working with mentors, they will help you think through the positioning and how you're going to explain your logic to investors, because the reality is there is no one right way to do almost anything when you're building a startup. So it's just important that as you're making decisions and putting a stake in the ground, you are documenting your logic and you're documenting your assumptions and your hypotheses, so you can go forward and explain that when you're having conversations with investors, with potential customers. And this process with the competition really helped us through that. Also, great pitch practice. If you're not used to pitching, it can be quite intimidating, and it's a very safe forum for you to pitch. They ask you a lot of great questions, as investors would. So they put on their investor hats for those conversations. And it helps you start planning, what are the frequently asked questions that I should be ready to answer if I do make the decision to raise an equity round, which some of you may do and others may not. But it gives you the practice in a very safe environment, but giving you meaningful feedback. It's not just all head pats and high fives. They give you really valuable feedback for your business, because you're not going to have all the right answers. We did not have all the right answers, and they really helped us to level up, which again, for us, because of the timing of when we went through the competition, had a tangible impact on our ability to oversubscribe our round when we closed it at the end of August. So that's a little bit about our own experience and some of the things that we especially loved from the program. And I highly encourage you to go through it. It's a great disciplined exercise in getting ready to scale.
Awesome. Thank you, Brianna. I hadn't heard a lot of that.
Yeah,
So
it's been super valuable. And the mentors that we had, like, we still stay in touch with them. So it's cool to have those people that you can reach out to when you have questions. You don't have all the answers. You're not supposed to. So having folks that have more experience than you or have seen and done things you haven't, you can never have too much of that. Obviously, grain of salt with what you do and don't action, but it's always valuable to have the mentorship and the feedback.
Yeah, sounding board of someone that might have had a similar experience, for sure. And I was also really grateful that you're here, is because Brianna and Pocketed, they raised a seed round last year, I believe. I think you oversubscribed, which is fantastic. Top 10 finalists. So they did not actually close the top 3 prize, although I was rooting for you for sure. And it's not because they weren't an amazing company. Clearly, as you see here, they are. Getting to the top 10, I think I can say, is already a really amazing accomplishment. Every company that makes the top 10, that's already amazing. And I think hopefully that opened doors as well for Pocketed. We often hear a lot of companies, if you're in that top 10, you're already getting a lot of recognition just for that.
Yeah, I would say the PR that came out of being involved in the New Ventures BC competition at every stage of it, when we made the top, the initial semifinals and then the finals, hugely valuable. So if you even just get to that second step in the competition, you're named in publications and press, and that is a really important social proof indicator when you're looking to build your business and get that credibility that you need as an earlier stage company. So hugely valuable for us from that standpoint. Angie.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, so thank you, Brianna. Brianna's going to be here for Q&A. So we'll, I've just got a few FAQs I'll go through and mention our sponsors, and then yeah, we'll open it up to all of you. So here are the questions I got the most. So I'll go through them now, and then you can ask more after this. So entry fee, it's a $200 entry fee to enter the competition. That's for the entire competition. It's for your entire team. We don't ask you for anything more. That's only to enter the competition. If you want to join the networking events, or you want to join the education events and not do the competition, lots of people do that. Sometimes they'll join the education and enter the competition next year. Those events are complimentary, thanks to our sponsors. So, but if you want to enter the actual competition, there is a $200 fee just to keep you engaged and for us to allow some funds to go back to the operations of the competition. In terms of eligibility, you need to be a BC-based company. You need to be 5 years old or less. That doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be incorporated, but about 5 years old or less. If you're more than 5 years old, but you're making a big pivot, or you're commercializing a new technology, you could be eligible as well. You just need to reach out to us and explain your situation. And finally, so that's BC based, less than 5 years old. And finally, raise less than $1 million of non-grant financing. So if you go off and raise $1 million using Pocketed, that's okay. But if you've raised more than $1 million dilutive financing, then you may not be eligible because you're probably too far along just for the stage of this competition. Registration process. So to register, it's pretty straightforward. The deadline's April 11th. You've got until then. Go to our website. There's an online form that you complete. It's really just going to ask you about a little bit about your company, your market, technology description, and then advanced apologies. We ask a whole bunch of questions around your demographics, what accelerators you've been in, what stage you're at. And that really is just because it helps us with the data, and it helps us use that data to figure out if we're making a difference. So I appreciate it's a little tedious, but I thank you in advance for doing it. In terms of stage adventure, this is always an interesting one. I get asked, well, I'm at idea stage, or I don't have a prototype. Is this still worthwhile? It really varies. We have companies that most of our companies, I should say, are pre-revenue. We do have some companies that are in revenue. Some companies with revenue do well, but they don't necessarily do well. So don't assume a company in revenue is going to do better than you. Some people, if you have a really well-developed idea and you have a really good vision and a plan, that is often compelling for the jury. The jury knows that this is an early stage competition. So there's a big range. Some companies will have raised money, some people will have not. It's a big range. The jury instructions really are to evaluate the company on potential. They're looking at, there's a few different rubrics that we use, but at the end of the day, they're looking for a company that could be scalable on a big scale, global scale. And so more of a venture, how should I say, scalable, repeatable business company versus, say, a lifestyle business company. Not to say there's anything wrong with lifestyle business companies. That's just not the mandate of this particular competition. What else can I add a bit of color onto this? Brianna mentioned how the competition helped her with raising investment. And a lot of companies do raise investment at some point, either before, during, or after the competition, because you often need investment to scale your company faster. However, we are not an investment competition. You don't have to be raising investment money to win this competition. We've certainly had companies who had revenue or who had other ways to fund themselves, and they didn't want to raise investment, and that's okay, as long as if you tick all the boxes of being a potentially successful company, you can still win this competition. So don't feel if you don't want to raise investment and you have very good reasons why you're not, then that's not going to preclude you from doing well in this competition. Okay, I'll move on from that. But if you have more questions, please do. You can either put them in the chat, or if you want to ask on video, if we have some time, we can do that too. How much work will this be? So this is a good one, because I think I've been running this competition for around 10-ish years now, off and on for longer. So I think back 10, 12 years ago, I was like, well, it's not that bad. You're probably doing all this stuff anyways. Yeah, you just have to write a 5-pager, write an 8-pager, and you're done. So yeah, no. This is what I was told by the company. So it really is an example of something, what you put in is what you get out. So it's very possible you've already got, and you can go to our website now, and we list all the questions that you need to answer for round 2. It's very possible you have all the answers to the questions, and maybe it's pretty straightforward, because maybe you've already been raising investment. You've got some of the data. If you don't, though, there's a series of questions you need to ask about, your company, your competition, your market, sales plans, channels, like just things that you need to work out. And if you haven't answered those questions, or maybe you have, but it's been a while, so you need to re-answer it, it may take a while. Our hope is never to distract you from running your business, though. Our hope is that by answering these questions, it will help you run your business and help you grow your business. So the hope is not to be a distraction, but the hope is to give you these questions, both, of course, to help you through your competition judging process, but also hopefully it helps you work through that, because you need to work through it anyway, because you're building your company. So in terms of how much work it will be, it is a bit of a sliding scale. Again, if some people already have the answers, maybe it's less work. But if you don't, or you want to level up, then it can certainly take some time. Yeah, I don't know. Brianna, anything to add on that? How much work was it for you?
It was definitely work. It's a commitment to be part of the
Yeah.
competition, especially the further you get in it. However, I would say it was incredibly valuable. It
Yeah.
forced us, I mentioned already, to work through things in a really structured way that I'm not convinced we would have done as fast as we did. So what that meant was we identified gaps in our own plan and strategy that we wouldn't have identified had we not been forced to think through it. And that played an especially critical role. Again, you don't need to be raising money, but for us, because we were raising money, it played a really critical role in being ready to answer the questions that we got from investors on market size and opportunity and growth plans and long-term vision and financial projections. Oh my gosh, even just the exercise of building out your financial model to be able to submit if you make it to the very final stages of the competition. We'd already built it, but that is a massive lift. And if you haven't built one, it can be quite challenging to do. The positive thing is you get access to mentors through New Ventures BC who can help you do that, so you're not operating in your own little black box of uncertainty and unknown. So again, it's a lot of work, but it's really valuable. Nothing felt like a make work exercise.
Okay, good. And that's always the hope. And I see Chang is here, Chang Han, who's at Entrepreneurship at UBC, another great program in our ecosystem, but he's also a mentor for us. And I always remember we had a company led by Alexandra Greenhill once, and Chang was one of her 3 mentors. And she always tells a story about her being asked, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do well in the competition? Do you want to do better as a business? What's your objective? And I think they answered both. And she credits the mentor group of Chang and 2 others as saying, okay, well, if you want to do both, this is what it's going to take. And everyone got to work. And it was a lot of work, but I think it was fun, and it was also super helpful. So again, it is what you put into it, for sure. And depends on, of course, your situation and how much time you have. So it's a sliding scale for sure. Finally, what makes a winning venture? So I've kind of already spoken a little bit about this, but generally, we're looking for a company that's got technology that's solving a real problem with a big market with the potential to scale. Now, maybe you don't have all the answers to that, but you think that's what you have, and you're working on that. And that's why you're going through this process. That's totally fine. But that's at the end of the day, when judges are looking for the winners or looking for the top companies, those are kind of the things they're thinking of. Okay, so those are the FAQs I get often. I'm going to look into the chat. First, I'm going to just say thank you to sponsors for this year's competition. We are able to run almost all our events complimentary, and it's because of them that we can. So most importantly, our title sponsor, lead partner, NVBC. I've already talked about them, but please do look them up. Gold sponsors, Ernst & Young, Baskin, SFU Beatty School of Business, UBC, Sauder School of Business. Pretty much all of them have been with us since day one, like 20 years ago. So incredibly supportive. Our silver sponsors this year, Ace Tech, TELUS Ventures, Output, Van Tech Angel Network, and Volition, and lots of great bronze sponsors here. Many of these are part of our community and help make our community a great place. So please check them out as well. Oh, and of course, our media sponsor. So we are able to amplify a lot for our companies, partly because we have such a great media community. So TechCouver, VenTech Journal, both super great partners with us as well. Okay, so just some follow-up items here. While I start looking here, my Zoom is on, here we go. Okay, I can move the questions over here. So the top link there is, if you want to learn more about the competition, we are kicking off all of our events starting next week. So Tuesday, we're doing product market fit webinar, 12:30. And then our in-person networking event is next Thursday. And then basically every week from here on out, we'll be doing education or a networking event. So join us for a couple, join us for all of them. Okay, if you want to get in touch, if you have any follow-up questions, this contact@newventuresbc.com, that goes to myself, it goes to Liz, who was here earlier. So feel free to reach out. Probably the best way to get in touch with us. Okay, so that's it for us. 1 o'clock. So we've got a little bit of time to answer some questions if there are any. I'm going to unshare just because that allows me to see you all a little bit better. Okay, here. So let me just take a look here. Questions. Yeah, we'll be sharing we'll send a link to the video and the slides after this, probably tomorrow. So yeah, no worries on that. Hold on one sec here. Oh, I'm still sharing. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Here we go. So yeah, if you want to ask your question live, you can put your hand up and I'll look for you. Otherwise, I'm just going to flick through the chat here and see what we got here, if there's any questions.
There is one there about eligibility.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, Ashley. Hi, Ashley. Okay, and I see the referral code. Okay, question. I can see that to be eligible, the venture must have at least one person who's a permanent resident of BC. I'm in the final stage. Yeah, so in terms of eligibility around residency, probably, maybe just send us a quick note and we'll just double check. But in most cases, as long as you have an intention to be in BC, then it's okay. As you know, as I mentioned, we are sponsored by NVBC, which is BC Crown Corp. So the main mandate there is to grow the successful companies in BC. That's kind of why we have that requirement. But if it sounds like you'd probably be okay there. Would you recommend people with no business background take part in the competition? Oh, Chang's already answered. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's why we do the education series. We can give you a bit more access to that business background. It's going to be a whole new world of vocabulary and concepts, and that's great. That's especially if you have an idea or technology that you want to commercialize. I think that's why we offer those things. So, you know, you won't be alone if you don't have a business background. I would say most people, honestly, like we have a lot of companies with great tech. They have a tech background. They don't necessarily have a business background. So they either learn it by doing things like our seminar series and then moving on to one of the many accelerators here in the ecosystem, or through networking or talking to people, they bring on a co-founder who maybe has a bit more of that business experience. All sorts of different ways to do it. But the way you start is by getting to know the ecosystem and the community. So you can start with us. And then once you start, you'll see how many different organizations and opportunities there are. And then it's just a matter of, you know, use this as a launching pad and then find the place that's the right fit for you. Vivian, do we need to have full perfect team to be considered a good fit to compete? Yes. Oh, this is why I love having you here, Chang. Chang's always knows. Yes, Chang says, no, it'll help you get closer to the finish line. Correct. So what often happens is one of the questions we have in round 2 is please describe your team. It's not actually a question we score formally because we don't want companies in the early stage to be penalized for not having a perfect team yet. However, what we do encourage is talking about, this is my team, this is what I need, this is the team members I need, and they are, you know, you don't have them yet, that's okay, but at least it gives the people reading an understanding that you understand what else you need and what your plans are on how to fulfill that. And yeah, like Chang says, a lot of people will meet fellow team members, co-founders, just through the process, be that advisors they talk to or other entrepreneurs they talk to as well. Okay, so yes, Ryan, it sounds like you were, and I should say, Ryan, if you ever have anything to say, feel free to add on. You too, Chang. Ryan, I'm just one person with an idea and prototype. I feel like startups with more people and up and running businesses would have a better chance at winning. Is that true? Probably, like to be honest. I always say to people, we have 6 prizes and we have 200 people that enter. So you never know. We have had people pre-prototype that have won the competition. So I always never want to say it's not possible, but I always do like to say, our hope is with the competition, yes, there's the prizes at the end. We really do hope you're going to get something else along the way, because it is 200 or so, 150 to 200 entries, and there are 6 prizes. So there's a reason why we make this competition 6 months long. It's because we want you to get some benefit along the way. And so, Ryan, it really is just about your personal preference. We have a lot of people that enter the competition because they just want to go through the questions. They want to go through the process. They want to figure out what they don't know. And then they come back next year and do it better. We've met, like Brianna mentioned, she's entered this competition twice with 2 different companies. We've had other people enter the competition twice. You can enter up to 3 times with the same company. And maybe the first year they don't do as well as they thought they would, but then they get to the top 10 or they win the following year or 2 years from now. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for in terms of how you want to answer that question.
And Angie, if I may,
yeah.
We actually applied twice with the first company.
Okay.
So we've been through the competition 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on your goal. If your goal is to build your business and get validation, mentorship, support in the process of getting validation around your concept, the market, the go-to-market strategy, absolutely go through the competition. You will come out of it a more successful company, and you'll be better set up to go into market to build and scale.
Awesome. Great add-on. Thank you. Are the education series catered to an array of experience levels? If you've been through multiple accelerators, would you still benefit? I mean, depending on the topic, some are definitely going to be a bit more beginner to you than others. A lot of people will take them as refreshers. For sure. It might be stuff you've heard before. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You can always, some are going to be slightly more advanced, like David Rafa is doing our exit workshop. That's probably a little bit more of interest potentially, because he'll be talking more about how to get to the exit and stats around that. Maybe if you've already gone through the customer discovery phase, I always say customer discovery is never over, but maybe then next week's seminar is of less interest. But you can always join, check the videos, and kind of take the nuggets of value that you can glean. But in general, it's definitely catered more as a 101 than a 401. The April 6th webinar, Nancy, was around pricing, so it'll be the Ivica group who will be doing a pricing walkthrough. Another one that I think is a little bit less beginner, because if you're looking at pricing your product, then there's some interesting stuff there. And then we are still adding seminars, I should say. So RBCX is actually a new sponsor for us this year. They'll be adding some workshops around venture debt and some other things, which are slightly more for that next level as well. So kind of depends on the topic. Great. I see Chang's added some info there. Thank you for that. Okay. Do the contest criteria consider broader benefits to society? Thanks for the question, Tim. Not specifically in terms of the key contest criteria. Most years we changed it this year, but many years, thanks to some great past supporters, including Van City and NVBC, we have Social Venture Prize, which is specifically meant to highlight companies looking at the broader benefits, triple bottom line. We have that kind of worked into the sustainability prize this year, but it's not a direct criteria to win the competition right now. I do encourage you to check out Spring, and Spring has their Impact Challenge, which also runs a couple times a year, I believe. So that is all focused around social impact ventures. And the two go well, to go together quite well. So, if you do well in that competition, you can enter this competition and vice versa. So last year's third place winner was a company called Moment Energy. They actually won the National Impact Challenge with Spring Ring, and then they were third in our competition. So doesn't hurt you, that's for sure. Okay. We've got a couple of minutes. I think that's all the questions. If you have any more, feel free to ask. Any last words, Brianna?
I think if you're debating doing it, do it. If you can afford the entry fee, it's pretty nominal. It's a wonderful process. It's so worth going through. I cannot recommend it enough. As you've heard, I went through it twice. We have been very unsuccessful 2 of the 3 times. We ultimately did not win the 3rd time, and I would still say do it. It was incredibly worthwhile, and we came out of it a better company than we went into it.
Thanks so much for that. Great. Chang, thanks for joining us. Anything you want to say? Want to say anything about UBC? Feel free.
Sure. Love New Ventures BC. I've been there as a mentor. I've been there as a competitor. We strongly advise our ventures at Entrepreneurship at UBC to go join as well. So I hope to see you there. It's the people.
That's right. That's right, Chang. You worked with a company that got to the top 10 a couple of years ago as well, right? That was, I think, our first company out of in the Nanaimo area, I believe. That was in the top 10. So that was cool. And then the year after, a company from Nanaimo won it. So hey, maybe you paved the way. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We are recording and we'll share the slides. That'll be emailed out to you tomorrow. Thank you very much, Brianna, for joining us. Again, Pocketed is her platform, and I know she's in the finals of the Pitch for the Purse competition with the forum. So congratulations on that as well. And Chang is one of our many mentors that you will meet throughout the process. So thanks again for joining, everyone. So with that, I will give you your afternoon back. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you throughout the competition. Thanks again, everyone.